What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We're back for another edition of Dynasty of Champions Dynasty Talk. I'm here with Let the Wookiee Win and Trumpelo Bills. What's going on, guys?
Oh, not much. Just here to talk about an excellent draft that we had. I think.
Yeah, very surprising draft in some areas, but yeah, I was very happy with most of the draft.
Yeah, we are 2 days removed, actually entirely 48 hours removed at this exact moment
Yeah, for real.
from the draft. Good timing for this podcast. But exactly 48 hours removed from the draft that went by in, what, all of 20 minutes on Sleeper?
Yeah, I know the first round took like 45 seconds. So
Yeah. I was shocked. I was sitting next to Julius at the first pick. He's like, I'm gonna make him wait a little bit, and then he literally let it go like 4 seconds and hit draft. And I was like, dude, like you didn't create any suspense at all. You already got things started. I think
yeah,
they were expecting you to like at least draw out the clock a little bit,
yeah,
but no. As soon as he got started, it was just immediately the first four picks ran after like a minute.
yeah. It was. I mean, luckily for me that there was about 6 picks there where like I have a lot of conversations with Bill, who's picking at 2 and 4, and you, who was picking at was it 5, 7, and 8. So then, yeah, and I knew what I was doing in there. So yeah, it was. It kind of went exactly how I expected it to go. So
Yeah, well, you
like
and I.
literally exactly how I expected it to go. I think you and I sat here and went through 1 through 12 like an hour and a half before the draft, and it was exactly 1 through 12.
Yeah, you put a wrench in those plans because I know you knew this as well that I had Max taking James Cook at 3, and I wanted to see if that was going to play out still. But I did also tell you after predicting that he would take James Cook at 3 that I think he would take Jahan Dotson at 10, and I was glad to see that come to fruition as well. Because I did, it's kind of nice to actually know you make all these predictions for a sporadic draft. Honestly, because we've been pretty sporadic the last 6 years having these drafts, and then out of nowhere we have a draft lineup exactly the way two people say it's going to line up. So yeah, hats off to us.
I mean, speaking of predictions, Fief at 12 with Damian Pierce, that was
Yeah,
right on the
you
money for
nailed
me.
that one too.
Yep.
Yeah, got to give kudos on that one. I definitely kind of forgot about that, and we just talked about that prior to the show. But definitely got to give you kudos there too, because that was not who I would predict to go at 12. Well, that'll jump us right in. We'll have the perfect segue into jumping into the first round. We're just going to go pick by pick for the first round, and we're going to do some reactions. We'll start out with number one pick of the draft. The number one pick of this entire user's dynasty, Brees Hall, number one. No surprise there. Number two, we're going right to Reefer Madness, who Bill has the second and the fourth pick. He starts off with Traylon Burks out of Arkansas. And then, Chris, you traded for the third pick with Max for a straight up trade with Antonio Gibson.
Actually,
Only
Max traded for Antonio Gibson. That's what happened. I just got
uh,
the third round pick out of it.
you hit accept on a trade from Max, actually, third pick. Um, Jamison Williams goes at 3. A little bit of a surprise if you're anybody on the outside, but anybody that's talked to Chris in the last week would probably know that he was probably going to go Jamison Williams as early as possible. And then Bill going number 4 with Ken Walker. That leaves Drake London open for me at 5, who I immediately hit accept on. And then you went with number 6 with Chris Olave,
Thank you,
leaving
Nathan.
Garrett Wilson. I'm sorry.
I was saying thank you, Nate, for the sixth
Yep.
round
No
for the
problem.
sixth pick.
That was the Kadarius Toney pick, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
Here's
nice.
Tony, Tyler Lockett.
yeah, Tyler Lockett.
And I
That's
think I
right.
got some third and fourth round value too.
Hey, I
Well,
got Ben
actually,
Roethlisberger, so
Well, number 7, I got Garrett Wilson, who I wasn't super high on at number 7, leaving you to go James Cook at number 8, leaving Tom to go Sky Moore at number 9, and then that prediction that I gave earlier about Max going Jahan Dotson at 10, that happened, leaving me to get Christian Watson, my guy, at number 11, and then Nate's prediction of Damon Pierce going to Robert Fife at number 12. And that's it for the first round. What's your reaction, guys?
I mean, I literally got exactly who I wanted in that at those 3 spots. I just think Jameson Williams the best receiver in the draft. Just sucked he was hurt, but it turned out in my benefit. I was hoping I was going to get him at 6, so yeah, I knew I was taking him at 3 because it was going to give me the potential to get one of the Ohio State receivers and potentially James Cook or both the Ohio State receivers. So just really felt like I couldn't go wrong.
I mean, not knowing what Bill was going to pick kind of really shocked me. I mean, I know you guys knew, but
Oh yeah,
Traylon Burks
I knew
too,
for like
that-
4 days exactly what
Yeah.
Bill was doing.
I mean, that's a shock to me because I mean, I've got four other receivers, or three other receivers higher than him.
Yeah, I would
in
have
this draft
taken
class.
Jameson Williams, Drake London, and Chris Olave all before Traylon Burks personally. But like
Yeah.
Burks,
100%. But I mean, if he has a preference for him, then
yeah. It wasn't Burks
by all
is
means.
Burks is a guy that we could be flat out wrong on too.
Yeah, we have been wrong before. We
Yeah.
criticized somebody on this podcast for taking Justin Jefferson, and that backfired pretty immediately.
yeah, it did.
it seems like one of the number one. He's probably the number one fantasy.
That
receiver.
person no longer has Justin Jefferson though. That is now a
Such
Fly
ridiculous.
Society member.
That is true. Yeah. Well, any additional reactions for the first round? I know we talked about Max going at 10. I think he obviously has fandom with Washington Commanders. Make sure I get that right on this podcast now from here on out. But Jahan Dotson, after trading his third overall pick for Antonio Gibson, I thought that was a shoo-in at number 10. That was just, but a little bit of surprise, regardless, right? Did anybody else have Jahan Dotson that high?
I would have taken at least 4 receivers that went after him before him, probably. But once again, might be wrong on that.
You would have taken Mechie over Jahan Dotson?
Yeah.
Really?
I would not have taken Mechie.
But
Definitely taken
Pickens,
Watson,
Pierce,
Pierce, and Tolbert.
and Watson.
I think I would
Yeah.
take. And maybe Wandale Robinson too. Yeah.
Would it surprise you for you to learn that if I was going to take a receiver at 11, if Christian Watson and Sky Moore were both gone, I would have taken Jahan Dotson?
No, I mean, it makes sense.
I
I
would
mean,
not-
I get why people are in on him. It's just for whatever reason. I don't know if it's Washington or if it's Carson Wentz, but just don't really want any part of what's going on there. Which is what made it so easy to get rid of Antonio Gibson. So
Yeah, really what made that really easy for you. So,
yeah,
I mean, look who that quarterback is. It's Carson Wentz.
I mean, I wanted to get out of that Antonio Gibson thing. I just didn't think anyone was going to offer me something that I thought was worth it, but that was to me anyway.
How great was the number 2 wide receiver on the Indianapolis Colts last year?
Yeah, I don't even know who it was.
Exactly.
I assumed it was Paris Campbell, but yeah.
Anyway,
Because
Wasn't
T.Y.
that
Hill
great.
as the third wide receiver for the majority of the year. But
as interesting as the Washington Commanders are, the second round.
understandable. Yeah, no other really surprises, so to speak. I can say that I personally was a little surprised that Chris had taken Olave over Garrett Wilson. I for some reason I thought you were higher on him than I was. I know that I had expressed my I guess non-enamoredness enamored with Garrett Wilson, and I think that was something that didn't surprise you that I was. At the same time, I thought you were higher.
Yeah.
At number 6 would just be like, all right, I'm taking Garrett Wilson. He's possibly the best wide receiver of this entire class.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's the same thing. It's the Jets, and I just always had Olave higher, like from the jump. I'd never had Garrett Wilson higher than him in my opinion, so I just didn't necessarily make that known because I knew that was going to be a tricky spot in that area at 6. So.
Yeah. I was a slight bit surprised by you taking James Cook over Sky Moore too. I knew you were high on Sky Moore, so I know that was probably a little bit of a decision for you, but it seemed like you knew you needed a running back.
Yeah, if I hadn't traded away all my running backs, I probably wouldn't have.
Yeah. And a high upside running back with, you are looking to wait, obviously, in your situation that you're in team-wise, that it does make sense that knowing that James Cook will probably consistently have more value in the next couple of years, not this year. He's not this year ready.
Yeah, with 7 picks in the first 3 rounds next year, like I'm in no rush.
Yeah.
No rush.
Well, perfect. Nate, anything else in the first round before we move on to the second?
No, I think the end of the first round kind of played out how I would expect.
Yeah, I'm sure no surprise with me taking Christian Watson at 11. No surprise with Tom taking Sky Moore at 8 or 9. Sorry. No surprise in the first 4 picks really, outside of Jameson Williams, maybe a little bit. I don't think anybody's surprised by me taking Jake London at 5. Yeah, really kind of an understandable draft. Once we knew how the top 4 went, it seems to kind of make sense from there on out. we'll jump right into the second round, and that's Julius's second pick, 201. We got Isaiah Spiller, the 20-year-old. And then we went right to Rashad White, the backup to Leonard Fournette currently, hopefully. That was Bill. And then the third pick of the draft was the first pick of the draft for Rick, and he got George Pickens, and I'm sure he slammed that accept button real fast at 203. And then you were at 204, and you went John Mechie, a little bit of a surprise there. Nate went to Tyler Algier at number 5, 205, and then came back at 206 and went Tyrion Davis Price. At 7 was me, and I grabbed Alec Pierce. At 8 was Eric's first pick of the entire draft, and he went Trey McBride, his first of 3 tight ends in the draft. And then at 209, we had you come back, Chris, with David Bell. And then we had Malcolm's, I believe's first pick in the entire draft at 211, and that was Jalen Tolbert. And then back to me for back-to-back picks to end the second round, and I went Wan'Dale Robinson, and then the first quarterback off the board with Malik Willis. So, what's your guys' thoughts?
Lots of thoughts on this one. Yeah, I mean, Spiller
let me have
Rashad
it.
White are exactly how it should be. Yeah, we'll get to you. George Pickens, great pick. Mechie is the only one. I mean, we've talked about it before. I'm just shocked. I mean, he's going to be out this year. And you know, I don't know. You don't never know how it's going to play out. You don't know. So, I mean, I would have taken Pierce. I would have taken Tolbert. Probably Wan'Dale Robinson as well, over Mechie. But
yeah, same here.
And honestly, Crack had a pick later on too, where he took David Bell. So I mean, he could have gotten Pierce there and then gotten Mechie later. And I think obviously Pierce over Bell.
I think he could have gotten Mechie in the third round, possibly even. To be honest with you, I think there probably would have been somebody that would have drafted him possibly early in the third round. There would have been some risk there, but not as much risk that you would have had to take him at 204.
I mean, that kind of news scares fantasy owners immediately.
Oh yeah,
especially since
I know it doesn't scare Chris. To be clear, I understand why he made that decision.
Y'all are a bunch of cowards. Bunch of cowards. No, like I said before, like I'm not planning on winning a whole lot of games this year. So, my thought was at that point, I had literally already taken 2 guys that were drafted in the first 12 picks of the actual draft. At this point, second round, I was just picking people that I'm like, who has potential to have the biggest career long term, and like to me, he's still the best receiver left there, regardless of what's going on with him. So it didn't really frighten me at all to take him that early, because I didn't know what anyone else's thoughts were really on the situation, because it didn't change mine at all. So I'm like, maybe somebody else didn't change their mind either.
I mean, I agree. Non-cancer diagnosis, I think that's a great spot for him, and I'd agree with it.
Yeah. No, I'm just willing to take that risk there because I have 8 picks in this draft, more or less, and 7 next year. I know I'm going to drop people, so I just think he's that good.
Yeah, I think we're all in the same boat there.
Yeah. I just had enough ammunition to take the risk, so I did. And I was annoyed I couldn't get George Pickens right then. I was just sitting there staring at it like, come on, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, no, I was definitely, and I'll go over my picks. Like, I would have taken Pickens at 5 there instead of Algier.
Oh, I would have taken him at 4 for sure. I would have thought about taking him at 8, so yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if he would have taken Pickens, I would not have Algier. But no, I like Algier. I obviously need running back depth, so that happened, and then I've got Tyrion to handcuff to Mitchell. So I mean, it worked out for me, I guess. I'll let Alec Pierce go to Lucas, and that would have been the only other pick I'd take there. So yeah, those guys were, I think, great value.
I don't have really any criticisms, to be honest with you. I think for the first pick in the draft for Malcolm to get Jalen Tolbert was not a bad pick for 210 to get Jalen Tolbert, a possible starter.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. That's an awesome pick at 210.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it was a great pick for the first pick in the draft for your dad, Rick, and I think it was a
Yeah.
strong pick for somebody that clearly needed a tight end, and Eric for Trey McBride, getting the best
Yes.
tight end in the draft, 208, and not having to draft him early. I think it worked out for
And
pretty
he
much
picked up
everybody.
another couple tight ends for Tampa later on the end, which he can kind of play whichever one he needs to this year and give Trey McBride time for Zach Ertz to retire.
Yeah. Well, any other statements on the first round?
No.
Anybody surprised by Malik Willis being the first quarterback off the board?
I mean, yeah, I was surprised. I mean, I knew I was going to be surprised anytime any of these quarterbacks went. Like, there's never, ever a thought of me drafting a single quarterback in this draft at any point. Even if I
OJ
had
Howard's
bad
on the
quarterback
Bills
options,
now.
I wouldn't have. What?
OJ Howard's on the Bills now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I say OJ Howard?
And you said
You
two
got
Tampa
you got
quarterbacks.
Cameron Brady,
He's got
Kyler Murray.
Cameron Brayton, Kyler Rudolph is who he got.
Yeah. Does he have OJ Howard too? For real?
No. Oh yeah, he did. He picked up OJ Howard. Yeah.
And he's got Gronk too. So yeah, that makes sense. He's got every fucking tight end. Oh, sorry, YouTube. And he just traded for Tyler Higbee too. So very odd that he got tight end scared real fast and started wetting his pants.
Yep.
All right, well, let's jump right in to number third round real quick. First pick in the third round for Julius Romeo Dobbs. Second pick by Bill Reefer Madness, Brian Robinson. Third pick, your dad, Rick Zamir White. And then I went ahead and went Rojo at 304. Robert Fife went ahead and went with the second quarterback in the draft, Kenny Pickett at 305. Nate went with Keontae Ingram at 306. Chris went with Tyquan Thornton at 307. Then Max came back and went Joshua Palmer at 308. Hassan Haskins back to your dad at 309. Jelani Woods back to Nate at 310. Irv Smith back to me at 311. And then Julio Jones to Tom at 312.
That's wild. Romeo Dobbs is a steal.
Yeah. I think everybody in the first half of that draft, or first half of the third round, was hoping he was going to fall.
Aaron Rodgers never gives praise to rookie receivers, and Dobbs.
I mean, he had the Devontae Adams. He did. Devontae Adams was trash in his first year, so.
Well, I'm saying it's rare. Like he never
True.
does it.
I'm agreeing with you. I think Devontae Adams was like the last person I remember him giving praise to in camp, and obviously people were hating on Devontae Adams that first year quite a bit, saying he wasn't worth it. And then Devontae Adams just had like a surge in the second year and became a superstar. So
if Aaron Rodgers only talks about two rookie wide receivers in the last 3 or 4 years, I think Dobbs pretty good value there at 3-1.
Yeah, I was definitely hoping Dobbs would be there at 304. I thought about taking him at 312, but thought that I'd already had 5 wide receivers and I couldn't possibly take a 6th in a row.
You can't have enough wide receivers, man.
I mean, I literally have too many wide receivers now, I feel like. But yes.
Yeah, no, so do I.
I do agree with that. In theory, I normally agree with that sentiment, but it now feels like I have too many wide receivers.
Yeah,
But
Brian Robinson, goal line option for the Redskins. Zamir White, we'll see if he gets some playing time.
Yeah,
These
see
are
what
all
happens
great
there.
picks.
Yeah. Rojo, I think, is going to be good in Kansas City. I know they're talking he might not make the team, but I think that's a little silly.
yeah, I think that's why Rojo fell to the beginning of the third round was that Sleeper had just came out with that article before our draft on Friday.
I mean, because there's rookies in this draft who are the same age as Ronald Jones, so it's
right. He's younger than Velus Jones, Nate. We'll get to the 4th round next, but it's mind-boggling to me that people are ready to give up on Ronald Jones. He was on my team, and I was the one frustrated with him. But it was only a season ago that he got me to the Super Bowl, so I'm mind-boggled by it. I was happy to get him back for free. I was shocked Ricky dropped him after trading for him originally, and left players on his team that I thought provide way less value. Somebody even as like a Chase Claypool, I think provides way less value than Ronald Jones now. I think that's probably a bit of a hot take.
that makes sense.
He's on the Steelers now. Steelers are not the same team even without Ben Roethlisberger, noodle arm.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. I just don't think Chase Claypool's. Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, and then Julio Jones going at the end of the third was fun.
Yeah, by the league champion too. I thought that was an interesting pick. I just like the fact that I
I
don't feel
mean,
like Tom's doing
I
to,
get
to
the
get.
I get the upside, man. Like, I don't think Julio's done, but he's real fucking close to being done.
Yeah,
I mean,
I mean,
he's
I think he's just one of those
33.
freak athletes.
Yeah,
You know, like
there's gonna be games late in the season where he's gonna score a shit ton of touchdowns because they're not gonna need him to dominate like he's needed to every other place he's been.
mhm.
See, I think it's only gonna happen if there's major injuries on that team again, which I think
Oh, I think
historically has.
it's gonna happen regardless.
Yeah, I just think Russell Gage is gonna get a lot more playing time than people
Oh
are.
no, I think he's gonna get a ton of playing time. I just think Julio's gonna catch a bunch of touchdowns, which he's never done before. So
All right. Well, anything else in the third round? I did like Hassan Haskins at 309. I like that pick a lot. When it happened, I was kind of impressed, and I really was looking at him there at 311. So definitely impressed by that pick. I thought Hassan Haskins was going
Does he
incredibly
have
low.
Henry?
What's that?
He doesn't have Henry, does he?
nope.
He did not. Henry is on FIF.
Yeah.
I
that's-
got taking the handcuff to a player like Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I know, because you're on the side of Derrick Henry's gonna break down at some point this year.
I mean, time will
That's
tell.
on
But
Pete for not taking him. Pete takes Kenny Pickett that round over Hassan Haskins. I don't know.
who
Yeah,
outside of Frank Gore hasn't broke down at that age, like after having serious injuries as well? Like, what running back hasn't broke down after all that besides Frank Gore?
yeah, but you can't compare the rest of those small children to that giant man.
I agree, but Frank Gore's not even a small child, so yeah,
Exactly. I'm just saying he's
yeah,
just one of those
I don't
people.
think
It's like hard.
totally.
It's hard to try to compare what Derrick Henry does to other people. He's not other people.
I don't know. We've seen this too many times though. LaDainian Tomlinson, Adrian Peterson, they weren't normal people either,
Well,
but both of them
Adrian
fell apart.
Peterson's fine. He was a big dude, but he played till last year. So
Right, but he wasn't Derrick Henry. As soon as Adrian Peterson decided he was no longer Adrian Peterson, he was therefore no longer Adrian Peterson. There was always flashes in a pan, but it was never Adrian Peterson ever again.
but
So
how many years was he Adrian Peterson for? A bunch.
it was like 7 feet, as many as Derrick Henry's had.
Until I see it, I'm not gonna believe it.
Well, we record these podcasts for a reason. We come to bring them back up later on and talk about predictions and how they actually went. So only time will tell. I'm going to run through the fourth and fifth rounds just real quick. I'm not going to go through everybody. Jameis Winston, Khalil Shakir. Next rookie was Velus Jones. Pacheco at 5. Pierre Strong at 6. Greg Dulcich at 8. Then we had Danny Gray go at 9. Danny Gray went at 10. Desmond Ritter went at 11. We had Matt Corral in the fifth round, 502. We had Calvin Austin go 505. Justin Ross go 506. And then we had Kyron Williams go 510. And Tyler Batty was Mr. Irrelevant at 512.
Yep.
Any surprises there? I did like Pacheco as well. I was looking at him in the fourth round. I think that was a nice pick, Nate. Again, Velus Jones is 25. I think he's ridiculously old. I like Khalil Shakir. I was kind of surprised he made it to the fourth round. He's got a lot of upside from what I've seen. People are hyping him up quite a bit. And obviously, he's going to an explosive offense. Danny Gray, a lot of camp hype. I'm not really sure if they can handle any more wide receivers, but I know Juwan Jennings has been kind of an up and down player as well. And then Tyler Batty, Mr. Irrelevant, 512. Not a bad pick for the last pick of the draft.
Especially with all the injuries in Baltimore.
Yeah. For a player that could possibly start in week
Very
1.
true.
It's not like they're,
Guys
only
that are
getting
hurt
injured
for the
one
first time, yeah, like they've been hurt
Yeah.
a lot of times, yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely a possibility that guy plays.
Oh yeah, I bet you he starts at least 5-6 games this year.
Probably.
Like Tom,
Wouldn't be surprised.
Tom with the
I mean-
limit, well, with like the limited in picks he had and this, that, and another, like coming off a championship, all he did was solidify his spot of where he is. That he's the one with the target. Everyone's got to still chase him. So
I was
Yeah.
thinking the same thing last year though with Tyson Williams. So
yeah,
I mean, we'll see. But
yeah,
he's gonna get an opportunity, I think, at least.
yeah.
Yeah, Pacheco. I mean, out of the 4 rookie running backs that I drafted, I think Pacheco probably has the chance to be that next Elijah Mitchell. I think maybe Algier, but I don't think Atlanta's offense is
No,
good enough.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think Pacheco was a steal there for it. Yeah, wild. I was lucky to get him.
Yeah, because I mean
That's
that backfield's wide open right now. It sounds like they're letting whoever takes the job get it. So yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Pierre Strong is the one in that back end that I was really looking forward to, and I thought I was gonna get him, and then Ricky. But once again, that's another like the fact that I'm interested in a New England running back just sounds idiotic to me. But for
I
whatever,
felt
you know what I
that
mean?
same mindset last year after drafting one, and then it
Yeah.
ended up being a good draft. Also drafted in the 4th round, I believe.
Yeah, because there's a couple people that are pretty damn good in that backfield. So it's like, is he ever even going to play? So I didn't bother me too much. Rather take the tight end that has a chance to be a starter in like 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, having Damon Harris and his news about
Mhm.
how Stevenson is coming up over top of him, it scares the hell out of me. And I was actually looking at Pierre Strong as well, but I knew Pacheco could have a starting job.
Oh, yeah.
This year.
Yeah.
So
Well, let's go ahead and do draft grades. Let's see. Let's start with Malcolm. He drafted Jalen Tolbert at 210 and Albert O at 504. And everybody just gives an individual draft grade.
Because he only had 2 picks, it's hard to give him anything above a B.
you'll
Yeah.
write them all down and then combine them and give them an average.
Yeah, I can do that.
Perfect.
So
I guess this is. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty.
Because for the 210,
draft with 2
Jalen
picks.
Tolbert's a steal, I think. And I mean, Albert O could have a pretty good year, but he's got Travis Kelsey, so it kind of doesn't really. I get it's more depth, but
Yeah, I'm okay with the B. That's about where I was thinking.
Yeah.
B minus
Yep.
in that range. So B
I'll go
across the
with B
board.
as well. Yep.
Easy enough. And I'll take us to our next person that only had a couple picks. We'll do Ricky, since we're on the subject, with Pierre Strong at 407 and Sammy Watkins at 511.
yeah, that's a B too, just because he only had 2 picks. But I like both the picks.
I'll give him a B minus.
B minus works.
Sammy Watkins
minus
is trash.
Sammy Watkins might not be, but I agree with you that he's trash. I just
At 511. I don't think
exactly. I thought Sammy Watkins was going to be gone in the first like 3 rounds just because of who he is. I'm very proud of our league that he went at 5'11". It just shows you that everybody's good at this now.
All right, let's see who's next. That'll be Eric with 3 picks. He's got Trey McBride at 208, Kyle Rudolph at 507, and Cameron Braid at 508.
Yeah, I don't get it. Let's go C minus.
Yeah, I was gonna say a C.
Because I do like Trey McBride, and both those guys are because I think he made a bunch of trades with me. It's like he's gearing up to win now, and he needs more depth at tight end. So I get it.
Yeah,
Nate, what's your rank?
I think he left a lot of players on the table.
I do too.
A lot of studs, especially wide receivers. And just, I wouldn't. But yeah, I'd give him probably a D.
Ooh. Well, that will average out to a C minus at least. I won't go D plus. I'm not gonna mess with him. We'll just say C minus for that.
How kind of you.
And then, let's see. Yeah. I'm nothing if not kind. The next most was, I'm guessing, your dad with 5. He did 5 actually. So Tom is the next most, or next least, I should say. 109, he went Sky Moore. 312, Julio Jones, and then D'Ernest Johnson at 412, and Tyler Batty at 512.
I mean, yeah, I know Kareem Hunt's trying to get out of Cleveland, but that's the first time I've heard this. Like, nah, we won't. We don't even contemplate the idea of trading you, Kareem. Go back to work. Like. But yeah, so who knows what's going to happen there? And I know D'Ernest Johnson looks good every time he's on the field, and like we already talked about Batty, like, and I really like Sky Moore. So
Yeah, I don't like the Julio Jones. No, I think that Julio Jones pick was just,
I don't either, but I get why he did it.
Yeah, I guess I do too. But
I mean, he's got.
I didn't hear about
He's not going to rely. He's not going to rely on Julio Jones to win games this year. That's just if it works, awesome. If not, cut him, get somebody else. So like I don't think it's
True.
a bad. I don't think it's a bad pick. I just you
Well,
could
he took. I think
you
he
could
took
have
the
done
right
something
pick.
else. Yeah.
Was the only really important pick he had too. So I'll go B. I'll go B. There's no issues with he drafted B.
I mean, the Kareem Hunt news came out after the
Yeah.
draft.
Yeah. This is after the draft.
So
Yeah.
it's a nice pick at 412.
Yeah, considering it's more or
definitely-
less an irrelevant pick at 412, anyways.
Well, what's the grades?
You go first, Nate.
B plus.
I'm just going straight B.
All right, so B it is, and that will take us to.
We're too good. We're too nice at graders. We got to toughen up.
I gave Eric a D.
Well, not you, Nate. You're.
So that takes us to FIF, UF for FU, UF or FU. Okay, that's his new name.
All right,
Okay.
I could get negative now. Now that I'm looking at this, I could probably get negative here.
212, Damian Pierce. 305, Kenny Pickett. 405, Isaiah McKenzie. And 505, Calvin Austin, the speedster.
I think his later picks were good. His first two definitely could have gotten better value. I don't know. Pierce probably. Yeah, I think Pierce is actually a really good pick at 12, especially with the news coming out.
Yeah, no issues with this draft. They say a straight B for me.
I think Pickett's the issue, but
Well, I mean,
3-5
Pickett.
is not horrible.
I don't think Pickett's gonna play a whole lot, like in his entire career. And Pierce is just one of those like I would have much rather had Spiller. I would have rather had Rashad White. I would rather had George Pickens. I would like. There's a lot of people I would rather had than Damian Pierce at 112. That's my only gripe with that pick. But that's just my opinion. Especially when your team already has Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, and Saquon Barkley. Like, do you need Damian Pierce?
No, but he's a Florida fan. He possibly grabbed the only other starting running back this season, like going in possibly. So, I mean, I think Ken Walker and James Cook are going to split time regardless. I think Damian Pierce is the only one that could outright win that backfield right off the bat.
Yeah.
So I mean, I like the pick. I would question taking Damian Pierce at 11, but again, I would take Isaiah Spiller and Rashad White over him. So I don't think it's the pick. So I'm a B or a B minus.
I'm going with a C.
You're going to C.
Yeah, just because I hate Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, I would go C as well. And I was thinking C plus, but I'll go C plus. I'll be nice.
The C plus is our average anyway, so you can rest easy about it.
And
So,
I really hope Marlon Mack listens to this to fuel his fire because he's going to be the starter in Houston. I've had faith in that man since he got drafted. This is the year. This is the year.
I don't know if you guys have seen. So like you know how you get the updates on Sleeper, and you can like click on them, and there's like a whole bunch of chat going on, right? Everybody's typing and stuff, and it's always like, what about Marlon Mack? And they always ask these questions about Marlon Mack in these chats about other players, and it's hilarious. He's definitely a huge meme in the community now.
Marlon Mack's my man. How dare you?
Let's do Rick now. 203 George Pickens, 303 Zamir White, 309 Hassan Haskins, 403 KJ Hamler, and 503 Chris Evans.
Yeah, it's hard not to give a B, man. George Pickens is a stud. KJ Hamler's, especially with Tim Patrick going down, is probably going to get a lot of work.
I like Hassan Haskins and Zamir White too. I mean that whole.
I think they're good. I think they're good long-term picks. Yeah, I don't know how much they're going to be useful this year, but that's just a difference of opinion on Derrick Henry. That's why you and I disagree on that pick.
Well, regardless, I mean, I am a fan of Hassan Haskins from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Too, his production in college, as well as for his situation. I think they're going to run the ball anytime that Derrick Henry goes down, or even when Derrick Henry's in the game. I think to limited snaps, they'll probably bring Hassan Haskins in, and he runs in a similar fashion to the way Derrick Henry runs. So I think it's going to work out similarly for him.
No,
when he does run in that season.
Yeah.
But again, I think this is the perfect example. I might even go B plus with this, because I think this is the perfect example of not having a lot of picks or not having a lot of great picks and making the most out of all of them. Because
Yeah.
like his first 3 picks, I think he did I don't see a better player that he could have taken in those first 3 picks.
Yeah.
Like I think he got the best player available at each one of those spots.
Yeah.
So I might
And
I'm gonna at least on B plus now.
when he took Hamler, I was like, holy shit, he's still available. Like I was shocked. That he got
Yeah,
him that late.
I was hoping he was gonna fall to me at 30 or what was it 408 there, but yeah,
Exactly. I mean, because we'd already known that Patrick wasn't going to be in that offense anymore. So
yeah, we did.
um, yeah.
So B plus or A minus? Where do you guys going?
I'll go B.
I'm still going with B.
All right, so B it is.
Too many B's.
And then we are on, I believe we are on Bill. Yeah, we're on Bill now. So he's got 102. He's got 204 with Ken Walker and Traylon Burks at 102. Rashad White at 202. Brian Robinson at 302. And Matt Corral at 502. And for me, this is a B as well.
I'm going to go B minus, and that's just because Brian Robinson. I would have went lower if he didn't draft Brian Robinson, honestly.
I liked Brian Robinson. 302, I don't have any problem with Brian Robinson.
No,
Yeah.
I'm saying that's what I'm saying. That's a great pick at 3-2.
Yeah.
Oh,
Traylon Burks.
I got you. My bad.
Yeah.
You didn't like Rashad White at 202? I thought that was a fantastic pick at 202.
I mean, I think Rashad White at 202 is his best pick. Like once again, we talked about the Traylon Burks thing earlier. Like I don't think any of us had him as our top receiver. So like, is taking him at 2 the best decision? Might be, but not at all what I would have done. So like, And
If
then
you're telling me this team could say Matt Carroll, Chris Olave, Drake London, Rashad White, and Brian Robinson, I would rate that a B plus. You know,
Yeah.
That's way higher than what I'm looking at right now.
yeah,
So
I wouldn't.
Well, where are you at, Chris? I heard a B and a B minus. Nate, B minus.
I still think it's a B plus. I still think Traylon Burks is going to be pretty good, but he's just not the guy I would have taken there. I still think there's that group of 5 receivers that are just better than everybody else, and he's one of them. He's one of them, so it's hard to knock the pick. You know what I mean?
him having the one.
I'm just trying to find bad things to say. We're saying too many nice things, but
Yeah, okay, but him having the 1-2 pick is what we're grading, and what he took at that
Yeah.
1-2 pick, is not a good pick to us.
Correct.
So that's why the grade is lower.
Yeah.
That's basically what I'm saying.
yeah,
So are you at minus or B, Nate? Which one is it? That matters.
I was at B minus.
All right, so B it is. We are B across the board for Reefer Madness. And we are moving on to Young Cats, and that is Julius. 101, Brees Hall. 201, Isaiah Spiller. Romeo Dubs at 3-1. Jameis Winston at 4-1. And Chuba Hubbard at 5-1.
so his first 3 picks awesome. The other 2 completely irrelevant to me.
Oh, I thought the Jameis Winston pick was fantastic
It
for
was
the
good.
main.
You love
Yeah.
Jameis.
No, I
give
love.
this an A minus.
I do too. I think this is the highest one of the draft so far. A minus for me as well, but I think Jameis Winston at 401, I think that's insane because he could be the starter for him. Because what Julius is going to do is he's going to trade Tom Brady to a team that's ready to win now, and he's going to be probably borderline playoff team if Jameis strikes gold like he did under Bruce Arians a few years back.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
You
Gets
guys,
him that late.
you guys
Jameis
have
is
a lot
definitely a
more faith in Jameis than I do.
I have faith in fantasy Jameis, to be clear. Yeah, A minus for me. Chris, what's your grade?
B minus.
Well, that's going to bring us down to a B plus for unnecessary reasons from Chris.
No,
Still our
Chuba
highest-
Hubbard's. Anyways, continue. Continue.
Still our highest one so far, regardless. And that brings us to Nate, which could be our next highest one. He had how many? You had a total of 8 picks. Dear God.
Yep.
Was that
8.
you had 8, and Chris had 8 as well. So you both had the same amount. So 8 picks from Nate. You had a little less, I guess, game-changing types of pick areas. You were not in the first round at all. 205, Tyler Algier. 206, Tyrion Davis-Price. 306, Keontae Ingram. 310, Jelani Woods. 404, Velvelis Jones. Isaiah Pacheco, 406. Danny Gray, 410. And Justin Ross, 5-6. One of the only players we've said tonight so far that didn't draft anybody outside of a rookie.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
for me, I think there's a lot of upside in all these picks. And you didn't draft at a high spot. Your first pick was 205, so I have no issue with that at all. I don't like the Tyrion Davis Price pick, but at the same time, if you were high on him, that was the spot you had to take him at because he was not going to be there again at 306.
Not crazy high on him, but I felt like it was a handcuff to Mitchell, and just to secure that backfield, I had to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand that too. I'm going B across the board because of where you picked. Even though I don't like the players as much as other teams, I think that where you were picking, I think you got value in every single.
Yeah, it was not. There's not really any of the picks that are people that I had an interest in drafting. So, like, me looking at it, this was my 8 players that I got, I'd be upset with myself. But I picked in different. I picked in different places than you did, so it's hard. Like, I think Justin Ross, that one's still a lottery ticket, but like I like the numbers on the ticket. You know what I mean? And I just think there's a lot more guesses.
The
Like
only thing
Tyler
I don't
Algier is one of those like, what's gonna happen?
If you look at the wide receivers after what I took, there's really, the only other one was Calvin Austin. I probably could have taken earlier instead of Danny Gray.
True.
That's really all I could have gotten.
Well, I mean, realistically, but you could have gotten Alec Pierce and Jalen Tolbert instead of Tyler Algier and Tyrion Davis Price too. Like that's.
Yeah.
I guess my entire thought process and
you got to think about it. I have 2 running backs then.
Yeah, he has no running back.
Yeah.
I literally have Damian Harris and Elijah Mitchell.
I went in with Darrell Williams, Donta Foreman, and Trey Sermon as my 3 running backs, and all I did was take James Cook and Kyron Williams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just didn't.
You're clearly running backs all year next year, clearly.
Oh so. yeah. I'm gonna draft like 6 running backs next year for sure.
How many picks do you have next year already?
I think I have 10 next year. I have my 5. I have 4 of Ricky's. I think I have, and then I have Fife's. I think that's it. But yeah, I have 2 firsts, 3 seconds, and 2 thirds, and then I can't remember what else.
Actually, I do too. I have 3 firsts, 2 seconds, and 2 thirds. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're both in the same boat. I don't even know that we went that route. It's a complete rebuild for both of us.
Yeah. But yeah, I would give you. I'm gonna give him a C+, just because I don't like the names.
Chris, you have 1, 2, 3. I'll look at the wrong thing here. No, that's you. You have
2 firsts.
You don't have 10. I don't know how many you have, but you don't have 10.
I have 2 firsts, 3 seconds, 2 thirds, a 4th, and 2 fifths.
You have 8.
Oh, 8. Wow.
All right, no worries. I was just looking at your picks just now. I knew it wasn't 10. Moving on. So we've got.
Oh no, it's only 8.
Listen, we pride ourselves on telling the truth here. This is some Alex Jones this type of plays here. So what was your grade on Nate? I didn't hear a grade from you, Chris.
Nate. I said C+.
So Nate, I'm waiting on your grade.
My grade's a B+.
Yeah, you 100% can't count Lucas, but we'll get back to that discussion later.
Is it 9?
No, it's 100% 10, but
is it really?
We'll talk about it later.
It's hard to do it the way this website works. Like you look at it, it doesn't really give you the draft picks as it does in the mobile, so it comes up different. But anyway, moving on. I'm not making excuses. I think you're right. Moving on. This is. To let the Wookiee win, 103 Jameson Williams, 106 Chris Olave, 108 James Cook, John Mechie 204, David Bell 209, Tyquan Thornton, the fastest player in the NFL 307, Greg Dulcich 408, and Kyron Williams 510.
I thought
And
I
that's a
had
total
a
of
phenomenal
8
first
points.
draft. After that, yeah, I totally can get any type of criticism after that, but I picked two, I
Hey,
believe.
what grade did you give me again?
Yeah, you should remember these things.
He gave me a C plus.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm giving this.
Yeah, because of the second round and the third round picks, I'm not high on any of those 3 players.
Yeah.
It's personal for me that I don't really like them as much, but I loved the first 3 picks. Obviously, Chris Olave being somebody that I was very keen on. I can't really hate on it too much, but I'm gonna say C plus for me. And that's 2 C pluses, and then whatever you give yourself, Chris.
An
I
A.
don't know. I mean, honestly, I'll give him a B plus. This is I'm not gonna.
So we're at a B. We'll just average about at a B here. Let's move on. These draft grades are really different once you have a bunch of
He
picks.
got a lot of people in the first round that I liked, so
Yeah.
he gets a nice grade.
So then you have me with a full 9 picks. Drake London 105, Garrett Wilson 107, Christian Watson 111, Alec Pierce 207, Wandale Robinson 211, Malik Willis 212, Ronald Jones 304, Irv Smith 311, and Desmond Ritter 411.
It's easily a D.
I'll give you a B minus.
Wow. What are you hating on?
Look at how cocky he is. All right, I'll give you a B plus.
He said B minus, not D minus, just so you know.
Yeah,
I heard B minus. I'm just curious
Okay.
what he's hating.
Oh man, a B minus is hate. Everybody in this entire draft has gotten a B.
I'm
Almost
just shocked
everybody.
that it would be a B minus versus the B's or the B pluses areas, based on how those first 6 picks went. I guess the main 6.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I'll give you an A minus. I'll do an A minus.
Not
You're
what you're doing
attack.
scores. I was
No,
just
let's
looking at
attack.
great
we can totally attack this. Atlanta's a terrible
you-
offense. They're not going to score any points. We have no idea what to think about the Jets. Christian Watson doesn't even look like he's going to be the number 1 in Green Bay. Alec Pierce plays in a run-heavy offense in Indianapolis. And Wandale Robinson has like 9 people on his offense that have to demand touches. So there. Here you go.
There it is.
You can look at
So-
it as negative if you want to. Like,
I think it's a D. Yeah.
see? So I told you, D. But then you can
No,
also look at it from the awesome way, and it's like, yeah, it's a B. It's definitely a B.
No, B plus,
I
A
think-
minus. That's what I'm going.
Realistically, I'm between a B and a B plus. I just
Yeah.
don't know how to grade it. I think there's too much unknown. Honestly,
Yeah.
there's too many players, too much unknown. There's
Well,
a lot
like-
of lottery picks,
Well, and
lottery
like,
tickets.
we've talked plenty of times about this. Like, Cooper Kupp was drafted in the 3rd round. Alvin Kamara in the 3rd. Like, how many people we have drafted in later rounds that we just look at on draft afterwards and like, oh man, what a terrible pick. And then 2 years later, you're like, well, shit, it's a pretty damn good pick now. Or
Well,
yeah,
that's-
or the opposite side. You have people taking guys in the 1st round. Like, there's a couple drafts I look back from our first couple ones where like, you look at it and there's like 8 running backs taken in the 1st round and like 3 of them still play, and you're like, what the hell happened that year? And so it's really no telling.
No, I agree. I don't think. I think that's the reason why we need to keep record of this, so
Yeah.
we can go back and say, oh, well, we were way the fuck off on this too.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's really telling that how off we are consistently every year at post draft, and then we get into the season and we're like, how did we not see this?
Yeah.
Well, that's it for the draft. I'm just going to run through it real quick. I've got the highest grade that we gave as an average was Young Cats B plus. Then there's a big across the board tie between Tom Foolery, Fly Society, My Ball, Zach. Did we not do Max? Did we skip Max accidentally? I just looked.
Yeah, sounds like we may
Did.
have.
John Dotson, Joshua Palmer, Khalil Shakir, Tampa Bay's defense, and Tyler Bass. So we skipped probably the most controversial draft.
Okay, yeah, I think we did. I don't remember talking to any of those guys.
I mean,
I
he had 1 pick before 308. Considering the circumstances and all the trading he did, I mean,
Yeah,
he did what he needed to do.
I'm giving him a C. I think it's the second worst draft.
Nate.
He drafted a defense an elite defense. Don't get me wrong. And you
Yeah.
drafted a good kicker. He was my kicker. I dropped him. So I mean, he drafted well with those last 2 picks, I guess, for
Well,
what he
I'm
was doing. But
and I'm pretty sure he put on auto pick after that third pick and walked off because
that makes a
he
lot of
knew he
sense.
was getting Tyler Bats in Tampa. He knew he was.
No, I was with him the whole time.
Oh,
He queued
he
Tyler
queued
Bass.
him. Yeah, yeah. That's what I was saying. I figured he knew that no one was drafted him, so there's no reason to hang around.
Well, what's your grades, guys?
Uh, C plus.
Did you say
C.
D plus?
C. Let's go C.
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate. C plus.
C plus it is. So that makes him and Marlboro Man, Jamar Burrow Man, tied for the C pluses for second to worst draft classes, and then a bunch of Bs and a couple B minuses in there. But for the most part, everyone Bs across the board, with Julius having the strongest draft according to this. We'll jump into power rankings then. And then I think we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we'll start with the what we agreed on prior to the show. The worst team in the league. We don't believe that it is the team that just drafted the first pick in the draft. We believe it's you now, Chris, right?
Damn right it is.
You did a great job making yourself this bad too. I think you made it
I
a
did.
conscious decision to be the worst team.
I made quite the effort, and once the first domino fell, it was like, well then, why should I keep any of these people?
Yeah. I mean, you got a stud at quarterback in Russell Wilson, who you just got, who hasn't played a game on your team yet,
No.
and you provided him an immediate stack weapon of Cortland Sutton.
Yeah.
You've got some young wide receivers in Darnell Mooney and Armand Ross St. Brown. You've got the starting running back of the Texans and Marlon Mack, who you've just been waiting on to be the starter again for like the last 3 seasons. You've been very patient with him.
I dropped him and then just repicked him back up. I saw it and I knew, and I was like, it's too good to be true. I have to take Marlon Mack.
I can't believe Marlon Mack made it out of that draft without being drafted. That's insane. He's a starting running back. But anyway, James Cook, obviously in your starting lineup right now. T.J. Hawkinson, Chris Olave, David Bell, Tua on your bench, Davis Mills on your bench. I'm not going to run through everybody, but notable players. His former potent player, Anthony Schwartz, as well. He also just picked up.
Yeah, I knew you'd like that one. Darnell Mooney was also picked up the same way, Lucas.
Yeah, I remember. So I do like this. I do like the future for this team, and I think with as many draft picks as you now have, which we have established as 10 draft picks next year, and an unprecedented amount of draft picks already for next year, I think that's a pretty good sign that you're on your way to building up a nice dynasty road run again. While we're all kind of in an arms race trying to get as many picks as possible for the future and make sure that our dynasties are kept intact.
Yeah,
but I think.
There'll be an open spot in the top 3 for the first time in 5 years. So,
yeah,
who will it be?
Well, any other talk on Let the Wookiee Win being the last place team in our power rankings?
I'm trash, but when you hear, I'm going to talk about my team like the 2024 team. So when I'm positive, I'm thinking about that team, not this team.
We're on Young Cats now at number 11. I think we probably all assumed he was going to be the worst team going into the season, but I think the draft actually helped him out quite a bit. And I don't think his team's as bad as we initially thought. Tom Brady starting at quarterback at the moment, Alvin Kamara and Breece Hall at running back, Mike Evans, Allen Robinson, Devin Duvernay, David Njoku, Austin Hooper, Noah Fant, lots of tight ends playing, Daniel Carlson and Titans D, Jameis Winston, Trevor Lawrence, Boston Scott, James Robinson, Isaiah Spiller on the bench, Romeo Doubs on the bench, probably his best bench wide receiver. I don't think he has a whole lot of depth, but yeah, I don't think it's nearly as much of a gap as we probably initially thought after the draft.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean you kind of nailed it on the head. There's not a lot of depth, but you can definitely take a couple of these people and spread out that depth a little bit.
Yeah, I think trading this season is going to be benefiting a lot because he's got a lot of young players he can trade as well.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of not necessarily young guys, like people like Kamara and Mike Evans, for example. Like, how many years do they really have left at that elite level?
Yeah, and I think he knows that too after talking to him.
Specifically,
I
Mike Evans. Like, Mike Evans has been doing it for almost a decade, about as good as you can do it. If they win another one and Brady retires, why the hell wouldn't he just go with him? You know what I mean? Like, who knows what that
Yeah.
dude's career is going to be like in the next 3 years? Not to ruin
Yeah, I think-
his potential trade value by saying that, but really though, like, who knows?
Yeah, I know
I
he
think
could probably
he's
get.
great.
I mean,
For sure.
if you could right now trade Kamara for 2 future first round picks, would you do it?
Yeah, I traded Derrick Henry for a first and a second. I would definitely trade him for 2 firsts.
Crazy.
Yeah,
right? Apparently, that trade was denied.
What trade?
Ricky offered him 2 future first round picks for the next 2 years for Kamara.
Oh, I offered him so many trades this offseason that I never heard anything from. So,
Well,
who knows?
he wasn't active this offseason
Yeah.
until Friday.
To about 3 hours before. Hey guys, wanting to trade? uh,
So, I mean, we'll see. I would definitely do it, but it's all about a mindset. He's got to want to rebuild
yeah.
and work on it.
Yeah, I think you have to get aggressive when you're a team like that. I think you need to trade those players to teams that are looking to win now and develop future draft capital and just keep going with it. Trust the process. Number 10 is Nate Truffalo Bills.
Yeah,
And
I'm not excited about this team at all, but I will be probably next year.
2024, Nate. 2024.
Yeah, okay, 2 years from now.
Lures versus crack.
and I think you're in a situation somewhat similar, not exactly the same situation, but I think you have players I feel like you need to probably trade once the season starts and you get significant value back for them. Older players that you can trade, I mean not necessarily older players, but some of your depth players are a little bit older. You can trade them and get some additional draft capital and just get some extra lottery tickets and keep building for the future because you've already got a bunch of young players on your team again already. And I saw you were the guy that got Daniel Bellinger in free agency, so I did admire that pickup as well.
Yeah, that was a nice little. Yeah, you're already upset about the Jelani Woods and
Yeah.
Bellinger.
Oh, I had to hear about Bellinger yesterday. It's like, yeah, freaking Nate.
But Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson both still on your team. That's been like that for like the last 4 or 5 seasons. Elijah Mitchell's kind of your go-to running back at the moment. You traded Aaron Jones away. Elijah Mitchell, Tyler Algier.
Did you guys like my nickname for Deshaun Watson?
No, I didn't look.
Massage something.
He's my masseuse consultant.
Oh man, I gotta find out how to do nicknames again. I gotta look back and figure that out.
It's in the settings.
Oh, that makes that easy. Valerian Steelers, number 9. Let's see. Valerian Steelers. He's got Jalen Hurts, Najee Harris, Josh Jacobs, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, newly acquired Tyreek Hill, and newly acquired Robert Woods, and newly acquired Tyler Higbee. Naheem Hines, AJ Green, he's been trying to trade with everybody. Matt Stafford, Mac Jones. Really not a lot of depth. Depth is actually quite disappointing. Trey McBride, of course, on the bench, but man, I do not like anybody else on this bench at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say he's got some solid starters.
Yeah.
Definitely, some top 10 guys there, and that's where all his value is. He doesn't have any depth, but the starting lineup's not too bad.
No, I do like the starting lineup. I think there's a lot of upside in Jalen Hurts, as well as, of course, Tyreek Hill and CeeDee Lamb and his running back, of course. I can't forget who his running back is on the top of my head.
Najee Harris.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs.
But, I mean, he's a fringe playoff team again. He made the playoffs last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think stars are going to have to align for him again to make the playoffs again this year. I think he's going to be an inconsistent playoff team, but I think he's kind of set up for the next couple of years to be in that same realm.
Yeah.
So
That, and I'm the only really team in our division that is not in a position to win right now. So it's
Yeah,
gonna
I think
make
our
it even
division,
harder for him.
yeah, our division's definitely gotten a lot harder across the board this season. So I think Malcolm made strides, and Bill obviously made a lot of strides with having the second and fourth pick in the draft. And I think your dad has made a lot of strides consistently in the last like 4 seasons. So
Yeah,
I
I
think your
think this.
dad's finally hit his tipping point.
Yeah, I think this is the first year where it really feels like both divisions are pretty equal, as opposed to
Yeah,
it felt very lopsided for a while. But like now, there's a lot of teams on the other side that are pretty damn good.
I think Steve and Tom definitely helped make that happen.
Yeah, and then there's you know, Ricky and Max are both teams that you
Yeah,
know
definitely
those
stepped
those
up as
teams
well.
are not to be forgotten. Like
Yeah, so all four of those guys just kind
yeah,
of stepped up. I went back,
yeah.
and who's the other one?
Julius just kind of
It's
stayed there
Julius.
because
Yeah,
because Colton was terrible.
yeah, yeah.
that Tyrell Williams pick really worked out well when he dropped him a month later.
I know. Freaking Austin Eckler for Tyro Williams and Jameis Winston is the most ridiculous trade in hindsight. But anyways.
That wasn't for Tyrell Williams. He drafted Tyrell Williams at
No, that's what I
111.
mean. Yeah, he traded him for like the 111 and like the
Oh,
202 or
for
whatever,
that
and those were what he used those picks on. I'm like, really?
pick.
This is what you
You're-
used
you're-
those picks on?
that was wild. You are correct.
Like, what the hell?
Number 8, Bill. I think the highest he's been in a while in our preseason rankings.
Yeah.
Number 8 is Reefer Madness. Kyler Murray, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, A.J. Dillon, Mike Williams, Devonta Smith, Traylon Burks, Mike Gesicki, Rashad Penny, and Ken Walker. Both. He's got both Seattle Seahawk running backs. Rashad Bateman. And then depth, he kind of has some depth too. Daniel Jones, Kenneth Gainwell, Michael Carter, Rashad White, Brian Robinson, Devontae Parker, Tyler Boyd, Kendrick Bourne, Russell Gage.
Yeah.
The guys got depth too. Team's kind of good. I think there's a serious drop off after this team to number 9. I think
Yeah.
he's in a whole different category than everybody else we've mentioned.
Yeah,
He's got a lot of like wide receiver 2s and wide receiver 3s. He's got a lot of them, and
Yeah.
I think that's enough to fill his flexes.
yeah, as long as his big time players play like it, the running back spot's going to be tough. Because you don't know what to do with Clyde and then AJ. If Aaron Jones goes down, AJ Dillon's going to be a monster. So, but
Yeah.
that, and then he's going to have one of the Seattle running backs at least, and he could plug and play. One of those receivers you said on his bench is going to have a top 30 year. I just don't know which one it is.
Yeah, I mean the Seahawks.
I don't know. It's either Mike Williams or Devonta Smith. But
No, I mean
Yeah, I
I
think-
mean the guys on his bench. So someone will
Oh.
like whether it's Russell Gage, Rashad Bateman, like somebody down there is gonna have a much better year than I think we realize.
I think Bateman's his third wide receiver.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you listed him on his bench, but either way,
He might have.
Well, that takes us to number 7. Max Rudy is Juju Njoku, and he's got Trey Lance and David Carr at quarterback. He's got Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard at running back. He's got newly acquired Antonio Gibson, Devontae Adams, Juju Smith-Schuster, Van Jefferson, Dawson Knox, Darrell Henderson, Devin Singletary. Let's see. He drafted Bass and the Bucks. Gus Edwards, Zach Moss, Mark Ingram, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, McCole Hardman, Jahan Dotson, of course. And yeah, I mean his depth's okay. I'm not a fan of his depth, so to speak, but I think he's got some good pieces. I don't know. I think he's just an average team, borderline playoff team.
yeah, he's one of those. He's got a couple players that could have really top end weeks, but like I feel like he lost a lot of those top end players in this offseason with trades, so his team's not as frightening as I thought it was going to be at the beginning of this offseason when he started making some trades, but yeah, there's a lot of upside. It's just they're players that I'm not necessarily crazy about, but like I understand statistically maybe I should be.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You know?
It's a lot of those middle of the pack players in
Yeah.
each position. It's not bad.
No, it's not bad, but like I just can't find anything good to say about it.
I mean, you got Devonta Adams. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see what happens
Yeah,
there.
him and Derek Carr could be awesome. Like that really could be like
Yeah.
huge for him. And then he's got every receiver in Kansas City pretty much, so somebody's going to be good. I just don't know if you're ever going to be able to tell which one it's going to be, and I think that's going to be frustrating all year.
Yeah, his team would be a great best ball team.
Yeah. Yes.
He's got stacks on days.
Yeah.
Every stack everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just. Well, that takes us into our top 6, and I think for the first time we're listing this team in our top 6 in probably like 3 seasons, I would guess. But that's my ball, Zach Ertz, your dad. We got him at number 6, and his team is looking probably better than I could have ever guessed it was actually going to head in this direction. I mean, we all knew it was heading in the right direction, but then he made that trade and got Josh Allen, and this team just looks so sexy now, too. Josh Allen at quarterback, Javonte Williams at running back, James Conner, Jalen Waddle, Scary Terry, Chris Godwin, Darren Waller, Cam Akers, Travis Etienne. Quarterbacks are nothing to write home to on his bench. Really not a lot of depth on the bench either. I do think that those 2 running backs he just drafted, in Hassan Haskins and Zamir White, are actually looking like they're probably going to be some of his deeper running back spots, having Keyshawn Vaughn and Chris Evans. And that's really about it on the running back on his bench. But Christian Kirk, Alan Lazard, and KJ Hamler, George Pickens, and Cole Kmet all on his bench as well as far as receivers go. He's got depth at receiver on his bench. His starting lineup is really sexy and a lot of high upside. I just like the team all around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just
Go ahead.
I don't think his wide receivers are, top 12 wide receiver 1 sexy. I think they're solid wide receiver 2s, and they're good wide receiver 2s, and he's got depth to help with that. But yeah.
I think Waddle has top 12 upside. I think
Yeah,
he has scary
I do too.
You think so?
consistently,
I-
too.
Yeah, I think
It's a half point PPR league.
Yeah.
I mean, Waddle catching a lot of passes, and he's had 1,000 yards in his rookie year. How often do receivers have 1,000 yards in their rookie year and not end up being consistently like 1,200-yard receiving type
Yeah.
players?
I mean, he had more catches in his rookie season than anybody ever has. So
Yeah.
And, well, I mean, you got to take into consideration that Tyreek Hill's going to take away
Yeah.
a
Oh,
good
yeah.
amount of that.
it's different offense,
So-
though. I think that offense is going to run a lot more
Are
plays.
you
I think they're going to run a lot more plays.
You're saying Waddle's going to be the number 1 receiver on that team?
No, I just
I
said
think
that
like-
offense in general is going to run probably at least 20 more plays a game than it did before. So there's just going
So
to
are
be
you saying
more opportunities.
Are you saying that Hill and Waddle could be top 12 wide receivers both?
No, I think they could both finish in the top 25.
No, I agree with that
Yeah.
100%. But Lucas said
I
top 12.
think it's possible they could both finish in the top 18, honestly.
Well,
don't
I
think
mean,
that's
top 12 upside. If Tyreek Hill gets hurt for 5-6 games, like no reason Waddle doesn't fall into the top 15.
Okay.
I mean, listen,
You know?
regardless, what we're all saying is kind of nonsense because Mike
Yeah.
Gesicki literally lined up in the slot consistently all year last year,
Sure.
and he's going to be the odd man out. It's going to be him.
Yeah.
He had like 70 catches last year, so it's going to be him that's going to be finding his way out. He's going to be just an average tight end this year, and he's honestly valued at that to begin with. He's
Yeah.
that's built into his value already. So, I mean, Jalen Waddle's going in the 3rd and 4th round in redraft leagues, but I mean, he's clearly got the upside of a top 12 wide receiver.
And Chris Godwin easily has top 10 upside. Easily.
Yeah, Chris Godwin definitely does. Yeah, I don't. I mean, there's a lot of upside here, and I know there's a lot that can go wrong, but I think that's kind of been Rick's MO all along.
Just
Even
needs to
last
stay
year,
healthy. Yeah, he's just got to stay healthy, and then he should be fine.
Yeah.
But this
Yeah,
is
I
the
think-
first time. The first time just has to stay healthy and not have injuries with a premier quarterback that can
Yes.
actually get into the
Yeah, with a quarterback that can drop 35 points on somebody when he's typically only gotten like 10 to 12 out of his quarterbacks, it's going to win him all those games that he loses because he usually loses close games. And that should put him over the edge most of the time, I would think.
Yeah, this is it's becoming more and more important to have at least one of the top 10 to 12 best
Yeah.
quarterbacks in Dynasty League. And I think your dad's been the odd man out on that as well for the last 2 to 3 seasons. He's never had a good quarterback. So
Yeah.
And I'll definitely agree that putting him above Max is the right call as well, because Max obviously traded Josh Allen, the better player, to this
Oh,
team.
yeah.
So
Absolutely. Well, that takes us to number 5, and we got another name in here that's been borderline fringe playoff team, but we have him square in the top 5 now for the first time, and it's a guy that traded away almost all of his draft picks to get there, so it makes sense.
Yeah,
But we've
I have
got
4 of his draft picks next year, so yeah.
He already tried trading me 2025 draft picks already. I'm not even kidding. I wish I was making that up. Like, I'm
That's
dead
awesome,
serious.
man. I love that. I love how like people in our league are found like, screw it, this hasn't been working. I'm gonna try this tactic. Like,
Right.
yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Yes.
It's made it so much
I
fun.
agree. But he's got Dak Prescott at quarterback, Aaron Jones and Kareem Hunt at running back. The best wide receiver in the NFL fantasy-wise last year, Cooper Kupp. He just got newly acquired Keenan Allen at number 2, Jerry Jeudy at 3, George Kittle at tight end, Adam Thielen and Chase Edmonds. And then his bench has got some high upside as well as some consistent play, especially at quarterback. Kirk Cousins, Justin Fields, Cordarrelle Patterson. You got Michael Gallup. You got Pat Fryermuth. And then you got Jacoby Myers, Chase Claypool. I mean, just a good team.
yeah, I think it's a great team. It's got depth. It's got its studs. I think it's got everything it needs to have. It's just got to win now.
Yeah. He just has to win now, otherwise none of it's worth it.
Yeah.
He has to win. He's given away everything.
So what I noticed last year, I know we talked about this on a different podcast, probably like 4 or 5 podcasts ago. But last year when we were like halfway through the season, I went back and I looked at like when Ricky had started Dak Prescott versus
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins.
Mhm.
We were like shocked to learn that he had started Kirk Cousins like as almost as many times as he had started Dak Prescott. So I honestly think the best thing Ricky can do is trade Kirk Cousins after like week 1 or week 2 when that Vikings offense looks good, because we all think it's going to be a much better offense,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, it will be.
And then take that decision off him, because he's already making the right decision. He's betting against the fact that he's going to be drafting these next level players,
Yeah.
and he can just pay for them now and try to win now. He's already got the team. This is his window. This is his shot. He's set up for the next 3 to 4 seasons. Take the stress off of you and just try to win with the players that are already available. And I think that's smart. If he takes away that user error with quarterback too, I think he'll be in business.
Yeah, no, I think
Yeah.
that'd be a smart move.
It's well put. I mean, he's definitely got Justin Fields, who could have a great year. If Fields is going to be successful, it's going to be this year. Because if he doesn't show up this year, I don't think Chicago's gonna.
They're not going to
Stick with
hang
him
out.
for the
Yeah,
future.
and it's going to be hard for him to be successful elsewhere, moving around that late in his career. Well, not late,
Yep.
but you know what I mean.
Well, the type of player he is too, I don't think he'll get a second chance. But Justin Fields, fantasy-wise, if he does make it for the next few seasons, it looks like it's going to be pretty good for fantasy, because
Yeah.
he averaged like 60 yards rushing at the last 4 games of the year last year, and he looked terrible all 4 of those games.
Yeah.
But he still got like 50 yards rushing regardless. So he ends up with 10 points even in his worst games.
Yep.
That takes us to number 4, and that is Fly Society back in the top 5. That's been a while since he's been there. But he made a few good trades this year, including getting Justin Jefferson. Well, let's start with quarterback. Lamar Jackson is back. Christian McCaffrey is back with a question mark in your Ron Burgundy voice, like I'm Ron Burgundy. Is Christian McCaffrey back? Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson. He just got T. Higgins. He paid the iron price for T. Higgins, but he got him. Brandon Cooks, a very old but really productive Travis Kelce. Gabriel Davis, Michael Thomas, he's back too. It just sounds like the boys are back when you go over Malcolm's team, and all these guys are coming back to getting the crew back together for one last hoorah. Zach Wilson, let's see, Alexander Madison. He's got Odell Beckham, still not on a team on his bench. Corey Davis, former potent wide receiver. Brandon Ayuk, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Terrace Marshall, Jalen Tolbert. Gerald Everett also just paid the iron price for him. Albert O. I mean, the team's good. He's got depth at every position as well.
Yeah, he really does.
He's going to be mad when Donald Parham starts and plays more than Gerald Everett, though.
Yeah, Parham's better in the red zone, but Everett's really fast and kind of plays more like a receiver. So I think the receptions
Yeah.
are there.
Parham's a monster. That guy's huge.
Yeah, I got that notification like 2 days after that trade went through, and I was
Yep.
like, "Oh, it's so
Perfect
so
timing.
satisfying."
That was like that the notification that Ricky got when he traded me Miles Sanders, and then the very next day it's like, oh no, never mind. Miles Sanders is definitely our starter, or he's
Yeah.
in for a month a year. It's like,
Or when he dropped Julio, and 2 weeks later, Julio signed with Tampa Bay.
poor Ricky. He's just gotta stop dropping players. Oh man. So Fly Society, any takes on him before we move on to the next one? We got 3 left.
Nah, it feels like it's time for that team to come back, and if they're most of them are as good as they have been, like yeah, it's gonna be a really freaking good team, but a lot of question marks that we didn't have 2 years ago that we have about it now.
Yeah.
I want to say that the Baltimore defense is not the Baltimore defense that we were terrified of when he was winning a lot.
It could be again
I mean, if
now.
all I'm doing is saying that his defense is crappy, like
Yeah,
he's
Yeah.
still got a great team. I mean, he can stream defenses and still have a good team.
well, and
you know?
he's filled the void that he's always had. Like he has an elite receiver that can win him a week that he's never had that before.
That's very true.
He's got not even an elite receiver. He's got arguably the best fantasy wide receiver in the league, who's 24 years old. And so I mean, he's literally set for like the rest of the dynasty at wide receiver, at least a wide receiver 1. I mean, it was that trade was a monster trade. I think he only gave up Zeke and Tony Pollard and maybe something else for him too.
I think it was a 204 and something else.
Huh. I know Zeke was there for sure. But,
No, it was Zeke. It was Zeke Pollard, and I think the two because I got his 204 back from Max, who he traded to, and then I don't know what the hell else happened.
Wow. Probably use it for Devontae Adams, I'm guessing. But all right, well, that takes us to number 3. That's potent. Super Bowl loser the last 2 seasons. Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, DeAndre Swift and Leonard Fournette at running back, Deebo Samuel, DJ Moore, Hunter Renfrow, Mark Andrews, Miles Sanders, Ramondre Stevenson, and then depth, of course, Melvin Gordon, Ronald Jones, Rondell Moore, Drake London, all the receivers I just drafted, Garrett Wilson included, Irv Smith, Brevin Jordan. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've got a lot of young rookie depth all over my bench because my starters are filled by non-rookies. So.
Yeah, no, I mean your team is basically the same thing we've said about the last 2 years. Can it get over the hump? I don't know.
I mean, I'm getting to that hump.
It's obviously a very good team. Otherwise, it wouldn't have gotten where it got the last couple of years. But
I think you getting Miles Sanders is great.
you gotta
I
win
think
one.
you're-
No, I don't think it helps
Wide
you at
receiver.
all. Miles Sanders is not tight.
Yeah, see, that's I mean, we're gonna differ on that though. I
Yeah.
believe in the hype of Miles Sanders just because
I can't believe in
That
it for
team-
4 straight years and be wrong all of them. At this point, I have to be out.
There's so many good players
Yeah.
on that team now.
Yeah, there
And
are.
Like, it has to open up
Mhm.
options for him. He's got to be able to. I don't know. He's got to be able to run the ball now. He's got to be able to catch the ball at the backfield. It's going to make it a lot easier for him, I think. So
They've got to run the ball with running backs to begin with. Stop just doing this crazy nonsense of
Yeah.
whatever they've been doing. Regardless, it's been working for fantasy for everybody else, like Jalen Hurts included. So I don't know.
yeah,
I
your wide
don't know.
receiver depth is stacked, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
these rookie wide receivers that you drafted are,
Yeah.
they make your team look very interesting.
Yeah, because your team's one of the few that you look at and you're like, that team can win right now, and then you're like, that team's probably still going to be able to win in 3 years. Like,
Which is exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to
Yeah.
hedge my bet. I didn't want to go in hoping that this is my one chance. I know I told you this a lot, Chris, but I wanted to get rid of DeAndre Hopkins and Keenan Allen and these older players because I didn't want to bet on this season and not sacrifice my future as well. And I think I did. I think I was able to accomplish that, but at the same time, I think I could have done better
yeah.
at managing the actual starting lineup itself.
And then
But I am
have,
hyping up.
there's still
Ramondre.
plenty of questions on your roster, like DJ Moore with no quarterbacks worth a damn.
But he just got a 4-year massive contract. Too,
That's
so,
all.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm-
because they believe it. I think everyone knows how good DJ Moore is, but like that's never been his problem.
Yeah. Regardless, though, he's consistent in the point that I know he's a baseline wide receiver that's going to get 9 to 10 a game.
And if
He's
Leonard
always
and if Leonard Fournette ends up losing a lot of the third down work, like the back half of the year, it's gonna be bad news.
Yeah, my best players are also pretty young. Like Debo Samuel just turned 26. DeAndre Swift just turned 23.
Well,
I
that,
mean, Mark Andrews.
if their running backs stay healthy in San Francisco, which they don't ever, are they gonna use him as a running back as much?
No, it seems like they're going to use him in gadget type stuff, but he
Yeah.
just got a contract too, so he's not going anywhere.
No, he's not going anywhere. But that just because he got a contract doesn't mean he's gonna continue to produce at the same level.
Agreed. Yeah, there's a lot of what ifs. I'm not going to lie. I was people probably will mention this
And
at some point. But
will Aaron Rodgers be able to dominate without a dominant receiver?
I mean, I've never worried about Aaron Rodgers, so.
I'm just saying. There's plenty of negative ways to look at your team, but you can do it about every team.
But I mean, I literally traded somebody I picked up in free agency for 2 second-round picks and a third-round picks in Dalton Schultz, and then I also picked up Hunter Renfrow in free agency last year too, and he's literally starting over all my wide receivers that I just drafted, all 5 of the first.
Maybe that's a bad idea now that Devontae Adams is in town.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Hunter Renfrow either.
You're not worried about shit. Lucas is winning it. You heard it here first, guys. Lucas is predicting his first championship.
Well, let's move on to number 2. That's Jamar Burrow Man. Jamar Burrow Man is the new name of Robert Fife, who I believe was something to do with Joe Burrow before, right? I can't even remember.
Yeah, I don't remember. He's had a lot of team names.
He really
I thought it
has.
was Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, it was Wake and Baker.
Oh, yeah, it was Wake and Baker. You were definitely right. Well, his team looks completely different. Joe Burrow at running back, Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb at running back, Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, Amari Cooper, Dalton Schultz, Saquon Barkley, Baby Chark, Jimmy Garoppolo, Kenny Pickett at backup quarterback. He also has Jordan Love and Matt Ryan. Let's see. Not really a gigantic fan of his depth, to be honest with you.
No,
I know
really.
he ranked in fourth place, but I'm not a fan of the depth. David Pierce is on the bench. J.D. McKissick, Isaiah McKenzie, Jamison Crowder, Calvin Austin, Logan Thomas, Taylor Conklin. I think we might have made a mistake by putting him this high, guys.
No, I don't think so. Because I don't know. The way I look, it's hard for me to look at a team and just, I'm going to assume these people are going to get hurt at some point. Like, for example, like if his team stays healthy the way Tom's team stayed healthy last year, no one's going to beat that team.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. Like, with Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, and Saquon, like, it's going to be incredibly difficult to beat that team. Oh, yeah, and then there's Burrow and Chase to go on top of it. Like, if those guys don't get hurt all year, I don't see him losing a whole lot of games.
Oh, his complimentary receivers too are legit.
Oh yeah, I know.
Amari on Diggs, and he got Dalton Schultz too. So
yeah, like that's.
I like his team.
I just think this ceiling for that team is as high as anybody's.
Yeah, and it's all because of Chase and Burrow. And
he built
lights up any scoreboard.
I mean, we saw last year at the end of the year, like that could be 80 points any week between those two. And if you got 2 people dropping, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm trying to be semi-realistic at least.
Right.
Like, I mean, you realistically could get 80 points dropped on you. He could do that twice this year, and he wins those games. He just does.
Yeah. Well, let's go to number 1, and that's Tom, our defending champion. Didn't get a whole lot better, but I do still like this team, and he was already set up for the future anyway.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert at quarterback, Jonathan Taylor, best fantasy player in football, it seems like consistently across all redraft leagues. Austin Eckler, A.J. Brown, Deontay Johnson, Michael Pittman, Kyle Pitts, Joe Mixon, David Montgomery, Baker Mayfield as his backup quarterback, Khalil Herbert, Kenny Galladay, Marquise Brown, KJ Osborne, Nico Collins, Elijah Moore, Sky Moore, Julio Jones, and Zach Ertz. It's got some depth too. It's not just a starting lineup. He's got depth. He's clearly the best team.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any question there.
Yeah, he's the team to beat.
Yeah. Well, any I guess reactions to that power rankings list? Any surprises or anything that stands out?
I think Tom's shotgun method at trades is genius. I think he throws out a ton of awful trades and hits on a couple good ones, and it's clearly made his team.
When was the last trade the last shotgun trade that actually worked out for him? Now that Colton's gone, though.
I mean, the shotgun trades
The
are
Calvin
not.
Ridley.
We don't know what the shot. I mean,
Yeah.
some of us know what the shotgun trades are.
Yeah.
It's all the ones that he sends you and Lucas and.
Right. No, I was saying, when was the last time that's worked out for him since Colton's left, though?
I'll go look up his trades.
I mean, he got KJ Osborne. That's the only trade I think he's made in the last since we've been on.
It's been this off season.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to remember he's trading up in picks too. He's getting value for those picks.
Yeah, he did trade picks around too.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him make any impressive trades since the Eckler trade. That was the
Yeah.
last time. Marquise Brown trade was okay.
Yeah. There's
This
been very
KJ
few
Osborne-
that were very impressive that weren't. It just looked like it's like why would anyone do that trade? Kind of similar to some of the ones I've had this year, but like you can't knock him for someone wanting to do that trade.
I mean, I don't think he'll be super elite just because he has Justin Herbert and Jonathan Taylor and Kyle Pitts. Doesn't mean that he's going to be consistently like one of the best teams in the league. And it's got Michael Pittman too. He's only 24. But I don't think Deontay Johnson or A.J. Brown or Austin Eckler are necessarily going to be the longevity types of players that are going to make his consistently elite, though. Joe Mixon as well. I think Joe Mixon's probably going to be a strong running back for the next 3 seasons or so, but I don't think he's going to be a player that's going to be going into his 30s, putting up anywhere close to top 12 numbers. So.
But I mean, you have the ability to trade those people and require. I mean, that's a conversation we had about my team 2 years ago, and now.
But Tom doesn't do that though, and I know this for a fact that he doesn't. He thinks his players are more valuable than he's not willing to get equal value back. He has to trade rape you, or it's not a win for him. And I think that that's going to be hard for him to get rid of players because I felt like I lost that trade with Ricky as far as my value goes with DeAndre Hopkins and Keenan Allen and Rojo for a 207, 107, and a future third. That's what I got for it. But I mean, that was my only way to get into the first round was to overpay for that pick. And I know that. I know you did the same thing. I feel like you didn't get as much value back from a lot of the players you were giving outside of Antonio Gibson.
I mean, I basically got exactly what you just said for Tyreek Hill on his own. I got a first and a second for Tyreek and a first and a second for Henry. And then I got a first, a second, a fourth, and a fifth for Kareem Hunt, and a first for Antonio Gibson. So yeah,
I haven't made any of those trades though. I've yet to see him make a trade where he's got an equal value back. It's only he only makes trade rape requests, and then when somebody falls victim to his trade rape, then that's a different story.
I mean,
that's happened a couple times.
He gave me a handful of trades this offseason that I looked at like I'm a complete idiot for not taking this, but it's just because it was a player that I had just made a move for Russell Wilson, so like Courtland Sutton in my brain was basically off limits at that point. Like there wasn't a whole lot you could do because that was the plan for for the next 3 to 4 years. He was definitely willing to overpay for him, but I just wasn't willing to give him up, kind of thing. I didn't want to. I knew it's stupid not to do the trade, but it's what made me decide. I'm like, oh, if I can get that for him, what can I get for Tyreek Hill? I was like, if we're trading receivers here, I might as well keep the young ones. But yeah, like this offseason, I haven't really seen most of it. I mean, yeah, he'll give a trade here and there where you're just like, what the fuck is this? But like, there's a lot of them that I'm like, damn, that's very enticing, but I had other plans.
I think Tom. I'm not saying he walked ass backwards or anything like that, but I mean he definitely was set up for success when he took over this team to begin with, because the team already had some miserable couple of years prior to him taking over. So they had young players that were waiting to be developed to begin with, and he was able to use that and maneuver and trade.
Yeah.
Similar to what Julius is kind of walking into now too, where Colton hasn't really been good the last 2 seasons. So he's got some younger players on his team. It's just unfortunate that Colton kind of didn't really draft young players. He drafted Tyrell Williams and Jameis Winston, and players like that. But Tom's team actually was kind of set up, and he had some rough years himself his first 2 seasons. So he had a couple more high draft pick years as well. So he kind of got it was inevitably going to happen anyway, and he hit on some draft picks. But I don't think his trading is really what got him here outside of Austin Eckler. The Austin Eckler trade really pushed him over the limit last season, and that was just another bad trade with another bad manager. So
yeah, and then Jonathan Taylor his team was just bad the year before, and for whatever reason, Jonathan Taylor didn't go 1. So yeah, I mean, I still don't. Yeah, like I say, it's not like he walked ass backwards into it. He's done a shit ton of stuff to make that team better. But yeah, he's had some luck along the way, for sure. We all do. It's fucking fantasy football. It's 95% luck.
Yeah, he's clearly very knowledgeable. I just don't think that I don't think he's engineered this team from complete scratch. I think that he's been given opportunities that allow him to actually build this team the way that he wanted to build it in the first place. And I think that's the thing about this Dynasty League, is that anybody can come in and make their own team, and they can kind of make their own strategies. Like, I think you're proof of that right now. You haven't missed the playoffs one single season, and you decided you're going to hit the reset button this year. And I know you and I have talked about that in the last 2 to 3 seasons, and you were like on the fringe of it even 2 to 3 seasons ago. We're looking for the future.
Yeah.
You and I aren't focused on just winning now. We want to focus 10 years down the road as well. And I think that's wild to see the different users' mentalities.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should have a guest host.
We should
Tom come on.
We should definitely have other people come on. We should 100% have Tom, and whoever the fuck else wants to come on.
It's true.
It's not hard. You just need to have Discord, and then bam, you're in.
Schedule up each week. We could do a reaction.
You just have to be a part of my schedule, unfortunately.
Yeah, true. I was thinking we could probably do like a Dynasty trivia, one of these shows.
That sounds awful. Why would we do anything like that?
It's not as awful as you think.
Oh,
it's not.
Okay.
It's a Jeopardy.
Is this like the Tattersall Environmental Project Jeopardy? Like that type of Jeopardy?
Yes.
Maybe the greatest student project of all time. And I wasn't even a part of it. We got shown it because Tattersall is just like you guys have to see this.
I wish we had that video available.
I wish we did too.
Those commercials alone were ideal.
That was in Max's living room, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Max's living room.
In the bar area.
Yeah, because hell, it was the 3 of you, Malcolm. Who else from the league was in that?
Brendan Lewin, Fred De La Cruz, and TJ Corkery.
Okay, so nobody else from the league. But there were still 4 league members in that. That's funny.
Wow. Oh, that's funny. So he actually shows it. I bet you. I mean, he doesn't teach anymore, right?
I don't think so. But yeah, he showed it. I mean, I was in that class the same time you guys were. You just were in a different period.
Yeah.
We watched his video too. It's where Chris ate all the food.
Yeah. We did next like the dating show with it was like fucking Stephen Cooley, Josh Hopkins. God, who else was in that?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Groups videos to every single class. Ours was just the one that stood out because it was clearly funnier than everybody else.
It was fucking ridiculous. Was it Aaron Carter? One of them.
Aaron Carter.
Yeah.
Brandon was Tattersall, Max was Sean Connery, and TJ and Fred were the audience members.
Who was Malcolm?
Malcolm wasn't in it.
Oh, I thought he was.
No, it was me, Max, and Nate were the only ones in it.
Well,
I don't believe Max is in AP environmental.
Oh god.
Not that
But
well,
yeah.
I think that's a wrap, guys. Started like 10:05. We're an hour and a half at this point.
Yes.
Recording, Chris.
Yes, an hour 34.
Well, that's a wrap. Another long show. Any other comments or?
No.
Well, I
was just going to say, it's going to be a long podcast if it's a great draft like that. That's
true.
I was just going to say it's a great draft.
Hey, it was a busy offseason, too. We had a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we did.
Yep. Lots of trades. Love it.
We'll see you guys next time on Dynasty Talk Podcast. I'm Potent. That's Let the Wookiee Win, and that's Trump Below Bills. See you guys next time.
Peace.
You practice your